Royal Caribbean's Liberty of the Seas has now come out of her 2026 amplification, and I was on board for the first 2 cruises after the refit. And the key thing to know before you sail is that this wasn't just a simple cosmetic refresh, but it also wasn't a complete rebuild of the ship either. So in this video, I'm going through the 10 things you need to know about the Liberty of the Seas refit, including what's changed, what hasn't, and what still wasn't quite finished when passengers were back on board. The first thing to know is that Liberty of the Seas has been amplified, not rebuilt. And I know that might sound obvious, but I think it's the most important expectation to set before you sail. Royal Caribbean's Royal Amplified program is about adding new venues, updating popular spaces, and bringing older ships more in line with the modern Royal Caribbean experience. Liberty of the Seas went into dry dock in Brest, France, in spring 2026 and came back into service for the start of the Europe summer season on May 29, 2026, with a 2-day cruise to Le Havre. I was on board for the first 2 cruises after that amplification, so I saw the ship right at the beginning, when some areas were looking much fresher, but also when there were still a few post-dry dock issues around the ship. But if you're booking because you've heard she's just had a refit, it's worth understanding what that really means. Some areas have changed quite a lot, some areas have barely changed at all, and some of the biggest changes are not necessarily the glamorous ones. They're things like new cabins, moved desks, removed spaces, and layout changes. The first place you'll probably notice the refit is around the pool deck on Deck 11 and Deck 12. This is the part of Liberty of the Seas where you really feel the amplification most clearly. The old pool bar area has been replaced by the lime and coconut, and that immediately gives the pool deck a much brighter, more Caribbean-style feel. It's colourful, it's more modern, and it makes the whole pool area feel much more like the newer Royal Caribbean ships. The lime and coconut also extends up onto Deck 12, replacing the older skybar area, so you now have that upper level looking down over the pool deck as well. There are also new resort-style seating areas around the pool deck, and the whole area feels fresher than it did before. You've also got private casitas, which are the upgraded poolside cabanas that you can hire during your cruise. Another big change here is the addition of El Loco Fresh and Cantina Fresca on Deck 11. This proved to be a popular change on my 2 cruises because it gives you a casual food option right by the pool, rather than having to go inside to the Windjammer or down to the Royal Promenade if you want something quick. The pool deck has been refreshed, but the whole outdoor layout hasn't been completely rebuilt. You've still got the main pools, the solarium, and Splashaway Bay in the same areas as before. Splashaway Bay itself hasn't really changed as part of this amplification, but the seating and surrounding areas have been refreshed. Next up, let's talk about the 2 main dining changes after the refit. The first is El Loco Fresh, which I've just mentioned on the pool deck. This is a complimentary casual Mexican-style venue on Deck 11, and I think it's a very useful addition because it gives the ship another included food option. The second main dining change is Izumi Teppanyaki on Deck 4. This has replaced Sabor. Izumi is one of Royal Caribbean's hibachi-style dining venues, where the chef cooks in front of you at the table. Apart from those 2 new additions, the rest of the dining setup is much more familiar. You've still got the main dining room spread across 3 decks, the Windjammer buffet at the aft of Deck 11, and the existing specialty restaurants, including Chops Grill and Giovanni's Table. For more casual food, Johnny Rockets is still up on Deck 12, Sorrento's is on the Royal Promenade for pizza, and Café Promenade is also still there. You've also still got Sprinkles by the pool, and you now also have Starbucks, which I'll come back to later. If food is one of the biggest things you're trying to work out before booking Liberty of the Seas, I'll be doing a full dining options guide as part of this series. The fourth thing to know is that new cabins have been added, but most cabins on Liberty of the Seas haven't been updated as part of this refit. New cabins have been added near the Vitality Fitness Center, in the area where the previous free sauna and steam room used to be. On Deck 12, new cabins have been added near Adventure Ocean. These new cabins still weren't ready on the first sailings after the refit, and there was still work going on in that area when I was on board. Then there are the new cabins on Deck 4, and these are probably the most unusual. They're accessed through a glass door near the casino area, as you move between the Schooner Bar and Casino Royale. And then on Deck 2, the old conference center area has been removed and replaced with new inside cabins. I did Liberty of the Seas as a back-to-back cruise, so I stayed in 2 different balcony cabins. My first balcony cabin was on Deck 8, and my second balcony cabin was on Deck 12. The Deck 8 cabin was absolutely fine. It had everything I needed, and I wouldn't say there was anything wrong with it, but it did feel more dated. The Deck 12 balcony cabin felt newer, because some cabins in that area were previously added or refreshed around the earlier 2017 changes. So even before this 2026 amplification, not all cabins on Liberty of the Seas were exactly the same age or style. The fifth thing to know is that Casino Royale has been expanded. This is one of the big changes on Deck 4. Royal Caribbean has marketed the expanded casino as having around 400 machines and 35 tables. So this is clearly a major part of the refit. And to be fair, the casino was definitely popular when I was on board. But personally, I'd have preferred Playmakers. If you've been on some other Royal Caribbean ships like Independence of the Seas, you'll know Playmakers is the sports bar style venue, and I do think something like that would have added more to Liberty of the Seas overall. That said, if you enjoy spending time in the casino, this will probably feel like a positive change. It's larger, it has more space, and it's clearly been given more importance in the layout of the ship. The sixth thing to know is that Liberty of the Seas now has the Royal Escape Room. The new escape room is an art-themed experience, with puzzles, riddles, and tech-enhanced elements. So it's another example of the ship moving away from some of the older-style spaces and adding something more activity-based. It's not something you'll notice in the same way as the pool deck or the casino, but it does add another thing to do on board. The seventh thing to know is that Starbucks has been added, but Boleros is still there. Before the refit, there was information suggesting that Boleros might be replaced. However, Boleros is still very much there on Deck 4, and is still a popular, much-loved Latin-style bar. Starbucks has therefore been added opposite Boleros rather than replacing it. The eighth thing to know is that Adventure Ocean has been updated, but it's also smaller than before. Adventure Ocean is Royal Caribbean's youth area on Deck 12, and from what I saw, it does look bright and fresh after the amplification, but some of the space around it has now been used for new cabins, so the area doesn't take up as much room as it used to. The ninth thing to know is that there are also some smaller layout changes around the ship, and these are the ones you might not notice straight away. The Shore Excursions desk has moved to Deck 3, into the area where On Air used to be. The photo area and Shore Excursions are now together on Deck 3, while the old Shore Excursions space on Deck 4 has helped make room for the expanded casino. A few other quieter spaces have gone as well. The Conference Center on Deck 2 has been replaced by new inside cabins. The card room has gone to make space for more cabins, and the free sauna and steam room near the gym have also gone, with that Deck 11 space now used for new staterooms. The Connoisseur Club has become the Royal Escape Room, and the Loyalty Desk has moved down to Deck 2 near the aft elevators. The 10th thing to know is that not everything was finished or perfect on the first sailings after dry dock. And to be fair, I don't think every issue on board was directly caused by the refit. Some things looked like unfinished refit work, while others felt more like older ship maintenance issues that passengers expected to have been sorted while the ship was in dry dock. On the first two cruises after the amplification, there were still staff working around different parts of the ship. Some new cabins still weren't ready, and there were finishing touches still being dealt with. Around the aft end of the outside promenade, there were carpets being stored that still hadn't been fitted. In the Platinum Theatre, some chairs were broken. In the Solarium pool area, one of the pool seats was broken, and guest services were very busy on both cruises, dealing with cabin-related issues. Now that you know what changed in the refit, the next thing you'll probably want to know is how Liberty of the Seas actually fits together deck by deck. So next, watch my full Liberty of the Seas ship tour after the refit.